If you're reading this, it's already too late. I know how that sounds, like the start of a bad campfire story or one of those clickbait posts you scroll past at 2 a.m. But I'm not here to scare you for fun. I'm here because I have no choice. What happened to me, to my family, is real. And if you've ever played Minecraft with someone you love, you need to hear this. You need to know what's out there, lurking just beneath the surface of the world you think you know. I've shared weird stories before: glitches, haunted servers, the usual internet urban legends. But this one's different. This one is dangerous. There are things in that game that aren't supposed to exist. Things that watch and wait and remember. I wish someone had warned me before I found my brother's world. I wish I'd listened to the signs or just walked away. But I didn't. And now I can't undo what's been done. If you think you're safe just because you're not playing, you're wrong. Let me start at the beginning, before everything went wrong. My little brother, Jamie, is 12 going on 30 if you ask him. He's got that mix of stubbornness and curiosity that makes him impossible to ignore and even harder to outsmart. I'm 4 years older, which means I'm supposed to be the responsible one. But honestly, most nights it's just the two of us, side by side in the glow of our monitors, talking trash and laughing at the dumbest things. Our parents work late, so game nights are our thing. It's our way of filling the silence in the house, of pretending we're just two normal kids in a normal family. Jamie's always been obsessed with Minecraft. He builds these insane castles, redstone contraptions that make my head spin, and worlds so detailed you'd think he was training to be an architect. I used to tease him about it, call him Blockhead or Pixel Prince, but he'd just roll his eyes and tell me I was jealous. Maybe I was. There's something about the way he gets lost in that game, like he's seeing things I can't. Lately, though, he's been different. Secretive. He started a new world and wouldn't let me join, no matter how much I begged or bribed. It's special, he said, hugging his laptop to his chest like it was a treasure. You'll ruin the surprise. I tried to peek over his shoulder, but he'd just smirk and shut the screen. Not yet, he'd say. You're not ready. I should have left it alone. I should have respected his space. But curiosity got the better of me. It started with a little white lie. Jamie was at a friend's house for the night, and his laptop was just sitting there on the kitchen table, humming quietly, screen dark. I told myself I was just going to check my email, maybe play a round of something mindless. But the Minecraft launcher was right there, and his world labeled only with a string of numbers and symbols was at the top of the list. My fingers hovered over the trackpad. I knew I shouldn't, but the temptation was too much. I logged in, expecting to see one of Jamie's usual masterpieces, a sprawling city, a roller coaster, maybe a secret base. But the world was empty. Not just empty, but wrong. The sky was a sickly shade of gray, clouds moving too fast, like someone had hit fast forward. The trees were twisted, their leaves the color of old bruises. I wandered through a village, but the houses were all half-built, doors missing, windows bricked up from the inside. No villagers, no animals, just the sound of wind, and something else like static, faint but constant. I moved toward a hill, drawn by a flicker of movement. There was a structure there, something that shouldn't have been possible, a staircase that looped back on itself, floating in midair, defying the game's logic. Shadows flickered at the edges of my vision, shapes that vanished when I turned to look. My heart started to race. This wasn't a mod. This wasn't anything I'd seen before. I pulled out my phone and texted my friend, Sam. Is this a mod? Jamie's world is glitched AF. No reply. I kept exploring, curiosity warring with dread. That's when I saw the sign, half buried in the ground, letters jagged and uneven. Don't look. I should have logged off right then, but I saw something move just beyond the trees' shape, watching me. That's when I heard the footsteps behind me in the real world. After that night, everything started to shift. Jamie came home the next morning, and I tried to act normal, but he was different. He barely said a word to me, just grabbed his laptop and disappeared into his room. I heard the door click shut, the muffled clatter of keys, the low hum of the game's music leaking through the wall. He didn't even come out for dinner. When I knocked, he snapped, "Go away." Not angry, just scared, like he was hiding something or maybe protecting it. I tried to brush it off. Siblings fight, right? But over the next few days, Jimmy got worse. He stopped texting his friends, stopped coming to game night. He'd sit for hours, hunched over his laptop, eyes glazed, hands twitching on the keys. Sometimes I'd catch him muttering to himself, repeating numbers under his breath. I'd never seen him like this. It was like the game was eating him alive. One night, I peeked into his room while he was in the shower. The world was open on his screen, but it wasn't the same as before. New structures had appeared, towers made of obsidian and bone, tunnels that spiraled down into darkness. Signs everywhere, scrawled with messages that made no sense. IT sees you. Don't dig. Remember. And the mobs, they weren't right. Skeletons with too many arms, spiders that moved in jerks, like broken puppets. I felt sick just looking at it. Later, I confronted him. "Did you touch my world?" he demanded, eyes wide and wild. "No, why?" I lied, trying to sound casual. He stared at me for a long time, then shook his head. "It's changing, even when I'm not playing. I think something's in there with me." I tried to laugh it off, told him he was being paranoid. But that night, I heard him talking in his sleep, whispering coordinates over and over like a prayer. I remembered all those stories online, haunted games, cursed files. I always thought they were just urban legends. But this felt different. This felt real. I decided to investigate. I wish I hadn't. I waited until Jamie was at school. The numbers he'd whispered in his sleep, -264, 113, echoed in my mind. I typed them into the chat, hands shaking, and teleported. The world around me shifted, the familiar blocky landscape dissolving into something darker, colder. The sky was almost black now, the sun a blood-red smear behind clouds that didn't move. The music, usually cheerful and nostalgic, warped into a low, droning hum, like a warning I couldn't quite understand. I started walking. The ground was littered with strange blocks, neither brick, sole sand, crying obsidian arranged in patterns that made no sense. Trees grew upside down, their roots clawing at the sky. The mobs I passed didn't attack. They just watched, their heads turning to follow me, eyes glowing white. A creeper shuffled by, its body flickering in and out of existence, as if it was glitching between worlds. I tried to remind myself it was just a game, just code, but my heart hammered in my chest. I found the entrance to a cave, half hidden behind a waterfall of lava. I hesitated, then pressed record on my phone, needing to hear my own voice. Okay, I'm going in. If anyone finds this, I don't know. Just listen. My voice sounded small, scared. I forced myself forward. The cave spiraled down, deeper and deeper, the walls narrowing until I had to crouch. Signs lined the path, their messages growing more frantic. Turn back. It's not too late. He's watching. I passed rooms filled with player heads, each one with a different username, some I recognized from Jamie's friends list, others I'd never seen. Their faces stared blankly, mouths open in silent screams. My panic grew with every step. The air felt thick, suffocating. I kept recording, whispering updates, desperate for some kind of anchor. I don't know where I am. The signs, they're everywhere. I think I'm close to something. At the end of the labyrinth, I found a door. It was made of iron, unbreakable, and above it, in redstone lamps, was my username. My real username. Not Jamie's. Mine. I opened the door. I shouldn't have. The room was small, barely more than a cell, but it felt endless. The walls were lined with obsidian, pulsing faintly with a sickly purple light. In the center stood a figure tall, hunched, its body flickering between blocks like a corrupted file. Its face was a shifting blur, sometimes a player's skin, sometimes a void, always watching. I couldn't move. My hands hovered over the keyboard, frozen. The air in my room felt colder, the hum of my computer rising to a shrill whine. The screen glitched, pixels tearing and reforming. For a moment, the world outside my window flickered to the lamp on my desk buzzed. The overhead light dimmed, and I swear I saw shadows crawling along the walls. My heart pounded so hard I thought it might burst. I tried to speak, but my throat was dry, my voice lost somewhere between the game and reality. Then, in the chat, words appeared. Not from me. Not from Jamie. You shouldn't be here. I stared, unable to look away. The entity moved closer, its form stuttering, breaking apart and reassembling with every step. The chat filled with more messages, each one more personal, more invasive. I know you. I see you. Why did you look? My real name flashed on the screen, over and over, in colors that bled into each other. It knew things about me, things I'd never told anyone. Childhood secrets, old fears, the kind of memories you bury deep and hope never surface. I felt exposed, violated, like the game had reached through the screen and into my mind. If you've ever seen something like this, if you've ever felt the game watching you, changing for you, comment below. I need to know I'm not alone. I need to know this isn't just happening to me. I tried to log out, hands shaking, but the button wouldn't work. The screen pulsed, the entity's face filling every pixel, and the world outside my window seemed to darken, as if something was waiting just beyond the glass. After that night, nothing felt safe. The line between the game and real life blurred, and I couldn't tell where one ended and the other began. Jamie barely spoke to me anymore. He'd sit at the kitchen table, staring at nothing, fingers twitching as if he was still playing. Sometimes he'd flinch at shadows or mutter numbers under his breath, the same coordinates I'd followed. His eyes looked wrong, too wide, too bright, like he was seeing something I couldn't. It wasn't just Jamie. My laptop started acting up, too. Files disappeared, my desktop wallpaper glitched, and sometimes, when I closed my eyes, I'd hear the Minecraft music warped and distant echoing in the silence of my room. The lights in the house would flicker for no reason. My phone would buzz with notifications, but when I checked, there was nothing there. At night, I'd hear blocks breaking, the low hiss of a creeper, even though I was nowhere near a screen. One morning, I found a symbol drawn in the condensation on the bathroom mirror, a perfect pixelated eye, just like the ones I'd seen in the game. I wiped it away, but it came back the next day and the day after that. I started to wonder if I was losing my mind. Desperate, I called Sam. My voice shook as I told him everything. "You have to destroy the world file," he said, his voice urgent. "Delete it. Wipe your drive if you have to. Just get rid of it before it spreads." I ran to Jamie's laptop, heart pounding, but when I opened the Minecraft folder, the world file was gone. In its place was something else, a new file with my name on it. That's when my brother disappeared. I didn't sleep the night Jamie vanished. His bed was cold, his phone left behind, the house too quiet. I searched every room, called his friends, even checked the backyard, but it was like he'd been erased. The only thing left was his laptop, open on the desk, the screen flickering with static. My name glowed in the world list, pulsing like a heartbeat. I knew what I had to do, even though every instinct screamed at me to run. I logged in. The world loaded, but it wasn't the same place I'd seen before. Everything was twisted, corrupted blocks floating in midair, colors bleeding into each other, the sky a swirling vortex of red and black. The music was gone, replaced by a low, guttural hum that vibrated in my bones. I wandered through landscapes that felt familiar and wrong at the same time. Our old treehouse, now half buried in obsidian, the village where we used to trade, its houses collapsed and burning. Echoes of our laughter drifted through the air, warped and distant. I called out for Jamie, my voice trembling. "Please, just come back. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have looked. I'll do anything, just let him go." The world seemed to close in around me, the shadows deepening, the air thick with static. Then the entity appeared, flickering into existence, its form even more distorted than before. Its face shifted through a dozen skins, mine, Jamie's, strangers I didn't recognize. The chat box filled with words. "Choose. Stay or leave. Only one can go." I tried to bargain, to plead, but every choice was a trap. If I stayed, Jamie might be free, but I'd be lost. If I left, I'd never see him again. The entity waited, patient, as if it already knew what I'd decide. If you're watching this, you might be next. That's how it spreads, through curiosity, through fear, through the choices we make when we think no one's watching. I made my choice. I hope it was the right one. Jamie came back the next morning. He was standing in the kitchen, staring out the window, sunlight catching in his eyes. For a moment, I thought everything was normal. But when he turned to look at me, I saw it, the brightness in his gaze, too sharp, too knowing. He barely spoke. He ate breakfast in silence, never once touching his laptop, never mentioning Minecraft again. It was like he'd forgotten, or maybe he was pretending. I tried to go back to normal, too. I deleted every game file, wiped my hard drive, even smashed the old USB stick we used to share worlds. But no matter what I did, the world kept reappearing. Sometimes it would show up as a hidden folder, sometimes as a shortcut on my desktop, always with my name on it. I stopped sleeping. Every night, I'd hear the faint sound of blocks breaking, the low hiss of something moving just out of sight inside the walls. One night, I found Jamie sitting on the edge of his bed, staring at nothing. I sat beside him, my voice barely a whisper. "Did you see it too?" He nodded, eyes never leaving the darkness. "We're never alone now. I want to believe it's over, that we closed the door for good. But sometimes, when the house is quiet, I hear the game's music drifting through the halls, and I know it's still there, waiting. I'm sharing this because I have to warn you. If you ever stumble across a Minecraft world you didn't create, don't open it. Don't go looking for secrets that don't want to be found. I thought I was safe, that haunted games were just stories, but I was wrong. There are more worlds out there, some are still waiting to be found, and some are already watching you. If you've seen anything like this, or if you have your own story, share it in the comments. I need to know I'm not alone. I'll be reading every message if I'm still here. This isn't the first time something like this has happened, and it won't be the last. Our community has seen things most people wouldn't believe. So stay curious, but stay safe. And remember, if you find a world you didn't create, don't open it. And if you do, don't look behind you.